Hello and welcome to EV Loop, powered by Carloop. I'm Adrian Maidment.
And I'm Akhtar, your host.
This episode 23, Sales Surge, Chart of the Week. What's Riz been driving? And EV show coming soon. Hello, Riz.
Hey, Adrian, good to be on. Episode 23, as you say, and it seems to only be ramping up.
It's ramping up, Riz. Where should we start on the ramp? Do you want to do your driving, or do you want to get straight into some sales surging information?
Oh, let's get into that surge. The EV sales are supercharged. Supercharged. We've had the best month of electric vehicle sales so far ever in history of Australian electric vehicle adoption, with over 12,000 battery electric vehicles being sold during the month of September 2025. That's pretty big, and I think it's only going to get bigger from here.
And what were the key models being sold?
Tesla killed it again with the Model Y. Significant amount of sales, getting close to around about 4,000 sales for the Model Y. Model 3 also saw a little bit of a resurgence, let's call it that, on the back of those incentives that Tesla had on offer. But in between the Model Y and the Model 3 was the rising star, the BYD Sealion 7, that appears to be doing quite well with over 1,800 sales. And then, so we've covered the first, the second, and the third being the Model 3. The fourth and fifth were, once again, BYD vehicles. So we've had a pretty good month for what's dubbed as Australia's cheapest electric car, the BYD Dolphin, scoring over 500 sales. And then you've got the BYD Seal as well, with 450 sales for the month. So sedans aren't, let's just say, dead yet in the midst of all the other SUVs on the market, but the Model 3 and the Seal are doing a good job ensuring that, people have a bit of a variety when it comes to body type, but SUVs still dominate.
Any general trends from the information? Any sort of key points?
Interestingly enough, of course, I think the sales that the BYD Dolphin is picking up are sort of being let go from MG4 as they wait for a more affordable model to land early next year, because MG4 did have that pretty amazing price of $30,990 driver weight. Same time last year, I believe it was around September. And now, obviously, they've had to increase prices, and the Dolphins become a bit more cheaper from there, and it's starting to get those sales. And I'm really hoping Australian fleets pick up way more of vehicles like the BYD Dolphin, the MG4, as well as a few more affordable options like the Geely EX5. But I think BYD has established themselves as a pretty solid brand now that fleets feel a little bit more comfortable in making the switch. And on top of all of that, there's some pretty exciting news which I think we might touch on after covering the sales, because I think BYD is about to take things up a notch when it comes to electric vehicle adoption in Australia.
What have you been driving this week, Riz?
So I think viewers and listeners sort of remember I went for a Nissan Ariya launch.
Oh, that's right. Yes, the Ariya.
A couple of weeks ago, and I've had that. I'm driving it at the moment, and I have to say it's pleasantly impressive in everything that it does. Or it doesn't do, that is. It doesn't bing and bong at you, and that made me very, very happy with how well the ADAS systems and the warnings and notifications are all managed without telling the driver that, they're about to crash into a wall, which often happens with a lot of the new vehicles. So, all in all, pretty impressed. It looks like a Nissan from the outside, feels like pretty well built on the inside. My only gripe is hopefully the pricing can be improved, because I think at the moment it's about $5,000 too dear, given the amount of competition that's coming in from the likes of BYD, Geely, and others. So watch this space. I think Nissan will be listening, but yeah, all in all, very impressed with that, and it just sort of sets the stage for the updated Nissan Leaf, which is supposed to land next year. So anyone's interested in sort of a mid-sized SUV, I think it's worth a test drive if you're comparing it in that segment, obviously keeping in mind the price.
What is the price, Riz? It's not on the website. Where do you get the price on this website?
I think the entry-level model starts at around $56,000. To be honest, when they first announced it, I thought it was going to be higher, which has been the case with a lot of the Japanese brands like the Toyota and the Subarus. But I think they started at a reasonable point, and depending on how the sales go, they may adjust that pricing. But all in all, I'm pretty impressed with most things. Everything just works.
Okay, well, sticking on price, we're going to go low pricing. Riz, what have you got for us?
Down, prices are down. That's what we're talking about, which is EV prices are down. BYD has announced that they will be launching the Atto 1 in the Australian market next month at prices, quoting them, considerably lower than the cheapest EVs on the market today. So we don't know the exact price yet, but if I was to guess, I would assume $25,000 to $27,000 before on-roads. The BYD Atto 1, of course, is the smallest car. It's also the best-selling car globally. The BYD Seagull or the Dolphin Mini, depending on which market you're in. They have produced well over 1 million of these units since it originally debuted in 2023. And I would go as far as calling it a bit of a game changer, because this car really scared a lot of the German car company executives when they first saw it in Shanghai in 2023 at the auto show after COVID, that a BYD could be priced at, round about 16 to 18,000 Australian dollars. Of course, that's, the price in China. Since then, the price has come down a bit. I think it's around about $14,000 or $15,000 as a starting price. And it's got more tech than what it did when it was first introduced. In Australia, of course, as I said, we're sort of expecting a $25,000 to $27,000. It is a little bit of a different car than what's sold in China. So all in all, I think it would be, pushes the needle downwards on prices for EVs, gets it very, very close to smaller ICE hatchbacks. So we're pretty excited about this. BYD is really shaking things up in a big way on that front. And yeah, affordable models is one way to go.
Is it available in any other right-hand markets yet?
Yep. So New Zealand, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They've had an announcement. It's not obviously landed yet, but it will be on this side of Christmas. There's also Indonesia is another market where this vehicle has been spotted. And of course, it's going to the likes of UK over in Europe in right-hand drive as well. So lots of stuff happening with this particular model. It's pretty exciting. And also what it does is that it tells companies like Geely that have the Geome small hatchback product that, hey, this could be coming. And what's really interesting about the Geely Geome is that it's already being rebadged as a Proton in Malaysia. So it's going to Malaysia already, which means that, soon there'll be a couple of different models in that price point, possibly even GAC Ion UT, and then the MG4, which we touched on earlier in the episode. So quite a lot happening in this market. I'm pretty excited of what's to come.
Okay, let's move on to chart of the week. Riz, what chart have you got for us this week?
So this week we'll look at the Tesla Superchargers and what we've got happening. There's over 134 sites in Australia. Between Australia and New Zealand, 160 sites. And
I've got a shout out to the Ruakura Tesla charger I was at a few days ago. That was very pleasant.
And did it work? Did everything work?
Everything worked. Had some nice chats as well.
That's good. And how many stalls do they have at that particular site?
Can't remember. Was it
4, 6? 6 is
no,
pretty
it would have been
normal.
6.
Yeah, cool.
I can't remember, as long as there was one for me.
Well, they just released a bit of a stat that the wait times at Tesla Superchargers is at an all-time low globally. So it's getting pretty good. So over 160 sites between Australia and New Zealand, and then over 1,000, which is the milestone they've hit, 1,000 fast charging stalls across both countries. That's pretty significant. There's over 700 in Australia. And yeah, it's starting to, the Tesla Supercharger network is really starting to highlight what affordable, well-managed, reliable charging can be across Australia and New Zealand. So pretty excited, good milestone, and there's a lot more to come.
Showtime, Riz. You're heavily involved in the
Sydney International EV
Sydney International EV Show. And what's any updates with that? What's happening there?
So yeah, it's starting to come together. There's a few more brands coming on board. There's, already it's public news. Zeekr is going to have a pretty huge involvement. Volvo, Polestar. There's just so much coming, all under one roof. Lots of test drives. I'll be there on the stage, talking to experts, sharing insights with others that attend the show. So yeah, really looking forward to it. And there's also a new car model activation stage, new car unveiling at the show. And as far as I know, there is at least 2 models that will be debuting at the show, which people get to see for the first time. October 31st to 2nd of November. And if anyone's interested, we have some free tickets to give away this time as well. So if you're interested, reach out to us.
Can we still put the link in, Riz, like we did last week?
We can put the link in as well.
Okay, we'll put the link in. Get some, I think it's 2 for 1. 2 for 1.
We do have the 2 for 1 as well. Tesla Model 3 has been updated slightly. Now it comes with a front camera at the front of the car, which will allow, I guess, maybe make parking easier, like the new Model Y. Also has black Tesla badging, and the indicator stalk is making a comeback.
Wow.
So that's happening in the 2026 Tesla Model 3s that are about to land. Also, importantly, Tesla very quietly has launched what is dubbed Australia's highest range EV, coming in with 750 kilometers of range, which is the brand new 2026 Tesla Model 3 long range rear wheel drive. Now that model, I think, is another game changer.
We can't have 2 game changers in one episode, Riz. I don't think that's the layout.
Let me rephrase that. It's big news. It's big deal that there's vehicles available in our market now that are doing over 700 kilometers of range. If that doesn't end range anxiety, I don't know what will. But also importantly, Tesla has gotten rid of the more expensive all-wheel drive long-range model from both markets, that's for the Model 3, and replaced it with a more affordable rear-wheel drive long-range vehicle with that huge range boost. So now, you have your entry-level rear-wheel drive with around about 520 kilometers of WLTP range. Then you have the performance, which has gone from 528 to 571 kilometers of range. And then you have the highest range of any EV available on our market. The Tesla Model 3 long range rear wheel drive is 750 kilometers. In Australia, it starts at 61,990, I think, from memory, which is $8,000 cheaper than the all-wheel drive that used to be available. And in all honesty, a lot of people don't really need the all-wheel drive side of things because, particularly in Australia, warmer climate, we don't get a lot of snow. And for those that need that, then there's all-wheel drive available in the Model Y in long range, but also the performance variants as well. So,
and what about vehicle to load, Riz? Vehicle to load.
Oh, now that's an interesting one because we don't know what's happening with that yet.
I read a post.
Vehicle to load is available on a Tesla Model Y Performance, which has just been launched in the US. And as far as we know so far, it's only available for the US built cars. So we obviously, if they've redesigned it, then it's likely that it's going to carry over into other markets. But we're yet to see, because in Australia and New Zealand, we will be getting the Model Y Performance from Giga Berlin or Tesla's Berlin European factory. We will soon know what the capabilities are. But vehicle to load is finally coming to more mass market Tesla vehicles. When I say mass market, it has been there before, but only in the Cybertruck. And Cybertruck does vehicle to load as well as power share. So you can power your home with it using the right sort of hardware, including a Tesla wall connector. So that's already happening in the US. We don't know whether the new Model Y Performance has power share capabilities as well, but it certainly has been officially confirmed by Tesla that it does do vehicle to load, which of course is a pretty common feature in most of the Chinese and the Korean EVs. The Japanese as well, of course, we had that with the Nissan Leaf using the CHAdeMO plug. But yeah, it's starting to come through for Tesla vehicles as well. So be interesting to see what the upcoming more affordable model and other Tesla vehicle lineup, how that's upgraded with similar technology or not. We'll find out.
And sort of a summary of the week.
So much going on. It's getting harder to keep up with for people like us, Adrian. Given we're sort of seeing it all the time. But so many new brands. As I think we were talking offline earlier in the week, that brands like Dongfeng from China are heading over to New Zealand. They already sell vehicles in Europe. Chery with JQ brand is going to be launching a new electric SUV that looks a little bit like a Land Rover. The news and like Leapmotor, we didn't get a chance to touch on it properly, but they announced the pricing of the Leapmotor B10, 38,990. We touched on earlier saying down, prices are down. EV prices are certainly coming down, and I can't see us turning back now, particularly in the Australian market, from an EV adoption point of view from here on in.
Okay, Riz, let's leave it on that very positive note, and we'll talk. Oh, and like, subscribe, and share. If you want to keep up to date what's going on, please subscribe to the channel, and we will see you all again next week.
See you next time.